Hello and welcome to the Winning Agendas coverage of the online Jinteki.net SANSAN Circuit Qualifier. My name is Jesse Marshall and I'm here with Sam Woodland.
Hello again.
And we are once again watching our job on the top table in the final round of the SANSAN Qualifier, playing against Luke, or Inactivist. So we've got Inactivist on the sync deck here, and Gabe once again for our job, with the sort of regular breakers that we've seen in the first couple of rounds. So Temujin Contract getting in early on Archives, gaining quite a few credits for Gabe.
Yeah, just using it just to gain money at this stage. Archives isn't the optimal place to have it. You'd love to have it on an R&D or an HQ where your runs will be slightly more worthwhile. You might get an access, so you might see something else, but still not bad to start the turn getting 12 credits or whatever.
And as the Gabe player sitting down opposite the sync deck at this point, Sammy, how are you feeling?
I think it's a good matchup. I think if Gabe can keep up with him in terms of credits, then it will work well. But if Gabe can't keep up, then he's going to have a fight on his hands. Now, we've just seen the sync player pull away with
A restructure?
But Gabe will be able to peg that back with presumably 2 more Archives runs.
So Sweep, Sweep and Restructure coming down for sync, and then, as you said there, Sammy, the Archives runs finishing off that Temujin Contract, getting Gabe up to 21 credits. Not a bad place to be, but nothing on the board as yet.
Now, the sync player, he needs to make sure that he has no open servers, so he can ice everything up and stop Temujin contracts, stop security testing, stop free runs with the John Masanori
and something that a lot of people seem to have forgotten now that Gabe hasn't been around for a very long time is that passing Archives is not only important for those cards, but Sneak Door Beta, which is a very popular card in Gabe. Protecting those agendas in HQ, but also turning off the Gabriel Santiago ID ability.
How would Temujin Contract interact with a Sneak Door Beta if you had Temujin Contract on Archives?
It counts as a successful run on HQ, so it doesn't count as
You
a successful
wouldn't
run
get
on
your full.
Archives. No.
Okay. Yeah, see, this is what I don't like doing. I don't like dirty laundering an Archives when you're doing it only for the money.
Yeah.
It's a waste. So
it's an easy mark.
Yeah, I'd like to see him build his board state up a little bit, like start to install some breakers or start to install some things. But Arjob is the top ranked player. He does know what he's doing. So if he thinks that's the best play, maybe it is.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing about the dirty laundry there is that if you're doing it to try and avoid hard-hitting news, then you're opening yourself up to hard-hitting news anyway if you install anything for the rest of the turn, so it sort of stops you from being able to develop your board at all for that turn if that is what you're playing around.
Yeah, and he's drawing a lot to just trash. Like, he's discarding a special order. Like, that is like a reasonably critical component to Gabe getting his rig set up. So maybe that tells me that he does have a lot of breakers in hand. I don't know, or it's not an ideal start, like, to have to be discarding cards like this, and he's taking a long time to choose what the last card to discard is. So he's obviously got some problems.
And if we had, a Fairy or a Zul in hand, we presumably would see those coming down, because the install cost is not so great. But I mean, only being 4 credits ahead, we could still see Restructure, Hedge, hard-hitting news, and it would still land. But then not be particularly effective when Gabe's on 24 credits. Yeah, so I question here whether getting something down at least last turn would have been more useful. John Mass, probably not what you want to play out when your opponent has so much face down ice, but certainly there must be something else in hand that could have been used on that last click.
All right, so I like this play. Running when there's nothing on the board, so you can't. Although if that was something that could do net damage, he could have been in a lot of trouble. But I'm guessing he's going to have another special order or a breaker in hand, because otherwise he wouldn't have thrown a special order away. Yeah.
There we go. So special order for Zul. Zul comes down. And is this going to be some sort of ambush? Or is it the agenda that was trying to be rushed out?
I think it's an agenda, and I think it'll be Astro.
It's interesting though, Sammy, because...
No.
Yeah. I mean, since you had the same amount of information as the court player had there, and your summation was, well, he must have the other special order in hand, otherwise he wouldn't have pitched the special order. Presumably the court player watching on also would have thought a similar way and might have, tried to bait the runner into doing exactly what they did.
Yeah. Well, I would have fallen for that same trap.
I mean, it's pretty hard not to.
Yeah.
You can't let them just have the Astro because you think they might be batting you out. But again, that's the problem with giving away information. When you give away information by discarding a special order, you allow the corp to craft their turn around you. You allow them to set bluffs that are actually based on what they know you're thinking.
Yeah.
Tagged on the last click.
Closed accounts, so that is a huge hit, and followed up with a hard-hitting news. Wow. That is a monster turn. Now, this would make it almost impossible to come back from. If Gabe can win from here, it would be amazing.
So how do you feel about that turn there, Sammy?
That was one of the most productive turns in Netrunner I've ever seen. That was... it's an exaggeration, but it was an extremely good turn. Yeah, our job is well and truly behind the 8 ball now.
So drawing a card and gaining 3 credits, trying to fend off any scorched earths that might be coming his way, but also gaining some credits to allow for the tag removal later on.
Yeah, okay, so Sync has got quite a number of turns just to be able to sit back, build their board state up now, and...
Psycho, some agendas out.
Yeah.
Could this be a...
Well, he's playing psychographics
3-point
now.
deal?
Yeah, he's playing psychographics now, so that'll be...
Only 3 advancement counters.
Why wouldn't you put the extra...
That's an Astro.
There we go, so he did have it in hand, he just decided to put the Prosec out instead.
And didn't that work out well?
It worked out extremely well.
So there's that sneak door we were talking about earlier. Possibly would have liked to have seen that a little earlier on in the game. Seeing a celebrity gift, not exactly what you'd expect to see out of Sync.
No.
So 15 influence in Sync, and we've already seen nothing so far. So celebrity gift, I think, is the first influence, and that's at 3.
So he's obviously going a very heavy operation-driven resources.
So quite a bursty deck here
for
the corp between Sweep, Restructure, Hedge Fund, which we've already seen, and then the celebrity gift in hand. So Jacksoning there is an interesting one because the sneak door archives run is still open. Our job taking advantage of that now. And look, I mean, if there had been a little more redevelopment, if our job had the Desperado in hand and been able to play that out, instead of having a few more of these other cards clogging up the hand early, then we might have seen a bit more of an ability to recover, because then that first sneak door run becomes worth 3 credits. And at that point, you start getting very close to being able to get to the 10 to remove those tags.
Yeah. Alright, so I'm seeing a dirty laundry run on Jackson.
I don't mind seeing this. I think getting rid of the Jackson here is quite important. You don't want them...
I wouldn't get rid of it. I'd make him trash it, unless I had agendas that I ditched. But I'd almost just make him trash it.
Yeah, I think for the runner player though, the ability for the court player to dig more quickly for their tag punishment is really not what you want.
Yeah.
At this point in the game. But we have just seen the closed accounts get shuffled back in with the Jackson. So that could be quite painful here. Next turn, our job is set up for spend 4 clicks removing 4 tags.
Still be tagged once. Yeah.
Which wouldn't be great, but if we see a closed accounts this turn, I think that's going to be pretty painful.
Yeah, I'd cry if I was our job.
So install advance. Closed accounts last click? No. Advance. All right.
And then Astro counter? No. So it'll be interesting to see if he goes remove tag, remove tag, remove. No, he's not doing that.
Going for the sneak door.
I think sneak door is your best bet at this stage.
Yeah, and remove 3 now, I think. Because leaving yourself on... you just don't want to be stockpiling credits. You've already been closed accounts. I think you want to start getting rid of those tags. You've got to get rid of them at some point, and more credits start becoming less and less relevant, given that you know they can all be taken away at once. Got to be remove 2 tags here, I reckon. Yeah. Oh, of course. When I was
Sync's ability coming in, having to spend 3 rather than 2. I think we both overlooked that.
We both did, definitely. So yeah, removing 6, spending 6 to remove 2 there, still definitely worth it. Because assuming that there's no ice going down on archives this turn, we can still see run archives with sneak door or remove 2 tags. Yeah, so the of course, we definitely shouldn't have overlooked that because it's one of the main draw cards of playing Sync and playing hard-hitting news in Sync, is that it is that much more expensive for the runner to remove the tags. So instead of being you need to be on 8 or more, it becomes you need to be on 12 or more. So scratch every time that we've been saying numbers earlier in this game relating to removing tags. So the John Mass getting some cards but preventing the double tag removal here. And I'm not sure that you really want to be playing resources at this point when you've still got 2 tags, but I don't know.
Celebrity gift. All right, so what's he got in his hand? Let's have a look. Two more celebrity gifts.
So there's a big chunk of that 15 influence, 9 in fact. Plus the 2 breaking news we've seen so far is 11.
So he's thrown down a piece of ice over archives, which would be a data raven. So that'll shut down the sneak door runs.
And that's exactly what the court player here would have been looking for. It was pretty much the only avenue to getting back in the game that we had for the runner. So those 2 credits that have just been gained from 2 clicks would have been gained incidentally to a run on HQ previously, which is obviously a much better rate of return. So we have to wait a whole another turn for those tags to be removed, assuming that there's no closed accounts forthcoming, which would just be absolutely devastating. The interesting thing here with only 2 tags is that...
so he's digging for the closed accounts. He would love to have seen it with that Jackson draw. Did he get that lucky? Doesn't look like it, because he would have just played it immediately.
He just slammed it. Sweep. Okay. So our job breathes a sigh of relief and can finally move back into being untagged.
Until a hard-hitting news comes down next turn, which would be heartbreaking.
Just don't make any runs. You're safe.
Yeah, that's true.
The problem with John Mass in this situation... Oh, dirty laundry. Oh, God. Hard-hitting news is definitely on the table now.
Yes, it is.
Another problem with dirty laundry, and also a problem with John Masanori, given that it makes it that much harder to face check the ice on the centrals.
Yeah, because you don't want to be getting the tag from the unsuccessful run. That's very true. Alright, so he did pop it. So he's going to gain his credits.
Presumably the hard-hitting news will go back in now.
Yep.
And the Psycho.
Yep.
And a sweeps week. All right. So we don't know how many hard-hitting news there are in Activist's deck. But that may well be the only one. Although you would think that there would be a couple more.
All right, so he's got two clicks left. He could remove the last 2 tags. Is he going to do it? He almost has to do it now that he's dirty laundried because the closed accounts is just too real. All right, well, or he could spend all his money. He spent down to 5. Now, would you use closed accounts just to get rid of 5 credits?
Yes, I would. Given that it costs my opponent 1 click for 1 credit, that's 5 clicks for 1 of mine. It's definitely worth it. So I've just checked Luke's deck list, and he is in fact playing 2 hard-hitting news, 2 exchange of information, along with the 1 of psychographics, the 1 all-seeing eye, and also a 24/7 news cycle. So that's the full suite of tagging and tag punishment cards. Oh, as well as the closed accounts, I should say.
Yeah, so he's digging. Playing Celebrity Gift again. He's going to be able to withhold 1 piece of information. I'm not sure that I would have done this because he was already on 27. Does he really need to have all this extra cash? But anyway, we'll see.
Yeah, and the information at that point, perhaps not that relevant actually to the runner, is it? Because it was unlikely that we were going to see many runs on HQ in the immediate future anyway. But perhaps some false information. Perhaps there is a...
There is an agenda in there.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so one of those cards remains unrevealed. And that is, of course, the classic Jinteki play. It's a bit of misinformation, a bit of partial information, a bit of false information.
Mind games. Now, this is risky. He's face checking without a sentry breaker.
It's pretty likely that this is going to be a sentry, whether it's a Turnpike or a Data Raven or a Gutenberg, I guess, is less likely on HQ.
Cobra?
Resistor. Okay.
Resistor. All right, so that's
1 to break for Paperclip.
It's not going to cause too much of a problem. And he'll get his Gabe credits. So he is trying to find out what that 1 unknown card was, presumably.
Yeah. Also turning back on the Gabe engine.
The access to Sweeps Week, which he knew about.
Yep. Got to be clearing those tags now, I would have thought.
He's going to discard a card if he does that. That may be something that he's considering. But I would still clear tags. So seeing 3 celebrity gifts, it's unlikely that this deck is going to be murdering anytime soon, so that's disappointing.
Yes, I've just checked over the deck list and there is no murder. Other than the Price X, which I suppose are very soft murder cards.
Yeah. If you murder someone for a price ec and a price ec alone, you're doing extremely well.
So going down to 0 credits to remove those 2 tags. And trashing a Fisk investment seminar, which I think is excellent because that's basically a corp card at this point.
Yeah, I agree. I don't like Fisk investment seminar. There's very, very few occasions where I would ever want to play it.
Look how happy Jackson looks in that art.
Is that Jackson?
That's Jackson on the right.
That's
there,
Jackson
yeah.
on the right.
And Laramie Fisk on the left.
Yeah, I knew it was Laramie on the left. Yeah, he does look pretty happy. He'd probably be pretty happy that that gets played.
Yeah. So another ice comes down in front of the resistor on HQ. And this is feeling quite dire for the runner. I think the runner has done an excellent job to get back into the game. But don't know that playing Fisk Investment Seminar is quite where he wanted to be. Oh, Fairy to get rid of Sneak Door, that hurts as well.
Yeah, he knows that he knows it's a data raven on archives, and so
he's not going to be doing that anytime soon. certainly no value in sneak dooring when there's a data raven sitting there. But yeah, once again, I mean, this is another example of where one player has been allowed to get a massive credit advantage. 40 credits to 2 is just so big. And the runner player just hasn't been able to put enough pressure on the corp.
Yeah, that second turn or third turn of closed accounts and hard hitting news has just swung the momentum irrecoverably.
And now the remote threat. So is this another price X, Sammy? It's got to be what both players are thinking.
If you install a third piece of ice, I think okay.
Well, that's almost certainly a price X as an upgrade.
I agree. So that's going to put the runner off, and is it going to be an agenda? I don't know what his agenda suite is. Like, it could, if it's I don't know if he's running NAPDs or Explodapaloozas or something like that. Like, not that he needs the money from an Explodapalooza.
It could just be taking advantage of the window that's there, that's created by the price X, while the runner player is so low to just score out a 3 for 2. Or it could well be a 4 for 2. Let's have a look at what Luke's agenda suite is. So he's got the 1 Astro, the 3 breaking news, 3 GFI, 1 Beal, and 2 quantum predictive model.
Okay, so I wouldn't mind betting that piece of ice on the outside there was a data raven,
and that this is a QPM.
And that this is a QPM.
So now the runner player has to guess correctly.
Yeah.
Because if they access the price X first,
then the QPM will be, I would say that the first card put down was a price X.
All right. So it's a breaking
news.
Okay.
All right.
Well, that was a good get. That was a really good get for the runner, but
you can't clear the tag.
But I think that's okay.
Yeah.
Because exchange of information doesn't do a lot right now. Closed accounts doesn't do a lot right now.
Yeah. All Seeing Eye doesn't do a lot.
No.
So as far as all the tag punishment that's in the sync deck, there is nothing that's going to be of particularly great value. If you had 2 Scorches, the game would be over now. So that's something that this sync player can
something to think about.
Yeah.
All those credits are really nice, but Sammy enjoys a bit of murder as well. Another ice.
So
remote.
He didn't have the money to... how much does price X cost to trash?
3.
So he didn't have the money to trash price X. So there's still a price X sitting there.
And a hard-hitting news coming down.
Yeah. Wow.
So there's an agenda, which is, could be a QPM, could be a Beal, could be a breaking news, could be a GFI, sitting on a price X with a hard-hitting news about to land.
So 5 tags. He could psychographics that out. He could psychographics out a GFI
and then score a breaking news as well in the same turn. So it could be click 1 psychographics, click 2 install breaking news. Oh no more breaking news in the deck. I lied. 3 of them already gone. So exchange of information not terribly useful with 2 breaking news sitting in the runner's score area.
5 tags means all his resistors will be up at around strength 5, which makes them costly to break, and he doesn't have the credits to be able to beat the trace. So, not looking real good. You would expect a resistor to be on server 1. So it's going to be tough for the runner here. Now we should see an agenda scored this turn.
Yeah, it seems like this our job's runner deck hasn't quite got the tools necessary in the current metagame to deal with the tags. It doesn't seem to be networking, no New Angeles City Hall, nothing that's really allowing Gabe to avoid these hard-hitting users.
Yeah, that's right. All right, so he's drawn 2 cards, so one can assume that was not an agenda in server 1. Unless we're going to see a psychographics in the last click. Ah, we are.
Could be a Beal, although 3-point Beal, much the same as a GFI.
All right, 3-point Beal. So, 6 agenda points.
1 more point to go.
I almost would have just triple advanced it and kept the psychographics for the following turn on a GFI.
Or you could have done it the following turn on the Beal.
Yeah.
And then scored it for 4 points.
Presumably he only just drew the psychographics in one of those 2 draws, though. So the runner's going tag me now because he knew that was there, and he's gone it anyway, and he really was left with no other choice. He has to do this. The problem is if he scores a GFI,
QPM.
if he scores a GFI, then it's game over.
Yep. And there's the exchange of information in hand. So now the runner is on notice that if you score a GFI, I win the game.
Now, is this going to be a resistor? Because this will make it very difficult to get in.
Well, I think with 2 clicks left, it actually doesn't matter. Yeah, so that's a board wipe.
Yeah, that
is a board wipe. Not one that everyone might have seen very much.
No. It's an information overload. On encounter, it fires a trace to give the runner a tag, and then it gains a subroutine of it trashes one of his or her installed cards for each tag the runner has. The runner currently has 6 tags and only 3 installed items, so everything is going to be trashed. Sorry, 4 installed cards, so everything is going to be trashed. On the bright side, it doesn't end the run. So the runner will be able to go through this and then just keep running into it. But it's definitely put the runner on notice now. Like the game is almost away from him.
And in fact, Sammy, with 1 click remaining after this, there is no conceivable way that the runner can win this turn. They can only steal 4 points if they're very lucky in 2 runs.
Yep.
Which will only take them to 6, and then the exchange of information will finish it off.
Yeah. But at least he's going down swinging.
At least.
Yeah.
And there's the QPM.
There's the QPM.
Just to add insult to injury. All right. So we hope you enjoyed that one. That was a little painful for all you runners out there, and certainly a display of how powerful that sync ability is in concert with hard-hitting news.
Yeah, that was a clinical display by the sync player. That is how you want your sync to perform every single game.
All right. Well, we hope you enjoyed that game, and we will see you for the final game in the final round very shortly.